SCURV show, and we're going to once again showcase Brother Dave, and this is going to be part 3 of the show titled Every Empire Falls, Will We Burn With Her. This is part 3, and I'm going to tell you, we spoke earlier, and what Brother Dave taught me and shared with me will really bring it home if you watch the other 2 episodes. If you do not understand or need to get up to par, enjoy the show as it is, but it will make perfect sense to you what Brother Dave is bringing right now if you watch part 1 and part 2, which I'm going to have to go back because he made it clear as to what is going on right now. And there is no way that this is hocus pocus. This is no way that this is a conspiracy. Listen to what he has to say, and we're going to flow. Now, I'm going to admit, I'm going to be here and not show my face because I have a cough that may come up in the middle of the show. So I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to introduce you, Brother Dave. What, do I need to introduce you? Welcome to the show, brother. Talk to us. Talk to us. Thank you so much. You are a very powerful man. Let me tell you something. I love you to the core. I love you, Brother Dave, to the core. You. Why do you think I said Brother Dave? Listen, we don't have to see each other every single day or talk to each other every single day, but I am divinely connected to you. Wherever we go after we transition, I know I'm going to be there with you. That's how strong my feeling and connection is to you, how you think, how you move. And it's an honor to have you. You are a gift to me in my life, my brother. I have to say that, and I'm going to say that every single time we do a show. I'm going to take a minute or 2 and just let people know how I feel about you, what you mean to me. And nobody ever better put their hand on you because they're going to have to deal with me. Take it away, Brother Dave. I'm going to mute myself before I start coughing. Talk to me, brother.
Yes, Lance, appreciate you. Love you and the family, and we're here together. And I think that we're in a great place. Because I think that there's going to be some great opportunities for us all. And so I want to, really seize on it. And we're going to do part 3. The last show, I'm sorry, my phone died on me. And so I didn't get to probably some questions that you all had. Hopefully we'll be able to do that via the chat room at the appropriate time. But I do want to kind of put this into full and to give a bigger perspective, a bigger, wider perspective as to what I believe is going on and what I know and what I think is beneficial for us to do as soon as possible. And by doing that,
let me interject, Brother Dave,
in a position of advantage. And I think that's so important. So we're going to
let me interject really quick, Brother Dave. Let me just say that if you would like toward the end or when you want to speak with everybody, we have the chat room, but we also have the ability to bring other people in on split screen if we put the link out in the chat room, if that's something so you can see their face and they can ask a question showing their face if you want that. You have that option. So just let me know during the show if you want to. They can talk to you directly on the stream.
Sure. Well, we could do whatever you think is appropriate, Lance. So if you think that if you want to do that, perfectly fine with me. So whatever is easier for you, we'll do.
Right. Okay. Take it away, brother. I'm going to mute myself.
So we're gonna pick up. This is going to be part 3, and I just want to thank all of you for supporting Lance and for you being who you are. And I think that it's something that I've learned as a growing up through my adulthood and everything else. And I realized that the process of learning is never complete until you give away what you've learned. So it's very important because that brings you're seeding stability and sustainability. And so that's the main reason, some of the reasons why we're doing this overall series. And I hope it's going to be very beneficial to you, which I know that it will, because it's been very beneficial to me, extremely beneficial to me, and many basically my clients as well. So we're going to pick back up where we last left off. But one thing that I think is very important is that we did a show with Lance when Byron Jones I can't, no, what is Byron's last, not Byron Jones. Keith, what is Byron's last name? Byron. The guy that's sued Comcast. Can't remember his name. I can't remember his last name right now, Byron. But I think it's very important for you to go back to find that show, because that one was also very important, and it lays foundation to where we are right now, what we talked about there. So I'm going to pick up what I wanted to show you, some very important things so that we can operate in a way that's beneficial to us, and so that we're not going to be disenfranchised. Okay, very important. So I will lead into it this way. On the last show, I talked about the lead, the leash, and the handler. I want to expand on that a little bit. There is don't pull it back. What is that, Keith? Oh, Byron Allen. my buddy Keith always puts stuff right in my face, and I'm on. He can't help it. He's old, you know. So go back to that show, Byron Allen. Very important one. So in the last show, I talked about the lead, the leash, and the handler. And the lead is very much so like the leaders that we have, that the general population has. Okay, that citizens have. Remember that keyword, citizen. Citizens have. So if you go to a pet store and you go down the aisle for leashes and leads, you'll see that's generally what you put on a dog or an animal that you domesticated. And that lead, aka a leader, has an attachment to it so that a leash can be put on that leader. That leader is around the neck of its overall host, being the dog or cat or whatever, or us or people as citizens, right? And then that leash tells the leader where they are to direct the overall domesticated entity or domesticated person to where they're to go. And that leash is attached to a handler. And that handler is given the full direction through the leash to the leader, to the overall domesticated individual. Very important, because that's how things work in a broader scope, geopolitically, financially, socially, religiously. And let me give you an example of that. This is so important. If you look at how things are structured, and the thing that you want to do is be structured correctly. One of the things that you will see is that if you're not structured correctly as an entity, then when you're born inside of a country, you automatically become a citizen. And we're going to go back to that word again, very important. So now, how are major entities able to operate with impunity, anonymity, and they have the ability to actually be immune, have immunity? Here's how. If you look at, let's say you have a major corporation. I'm going to make up a corporation, Corporation A and B. And Corporation A and B is in the financial world. And Corporation A and B has stolen or misappropriated billions of funds for their clients. Okay. And they go to court, and the SEC and court say, hey, they were wrong, and they penalize the corporation, the entity. Okay. And in penalizing the corporation and the entity, the penalty may be $100 million, but they actually were able to gain $1 trillion from that overall. So what penalty did they really have? None really whatsoever. But what happens is this, is that now there's a suit against the overall entity, right? And they have to pay, restitution or whatever it is happens. But is that, or even where it caused someone to lose their life, okay? And you could say if a human being did it, they would be charged for murder. Okay, so why isn't that overall entity completely nullified in sentence? Well, it's not, because it's no living human being. It's just a person. Very important. So now what that means is this, that they're able to do things legally and illegally without real major punishment, because they've moved themselves into an entity. They've established personship. A person is not always a human being. Okay, a person can be a inanimate entity that has human beings directing it. And that overall entity, let's take a major corporation. I want you to think about a major corporation. That corporation is a person, and it has legal standing. It has its own social security number. It has rights. It has abilities. It has the ability to life and to prosperity. It can create contract. And when you create contract, you are creating law. One of the most important things is that a contract, you are creating law. Okay, I want you to remember that as well. Very important part. Going to come after that. So this is how multinational conglomerates and organizations are able to dictate their will and have a level of immunity from prosecution. So if you're a major corporation and your firm actually, or your organization actually killed some people, well, that doesn't mean that the overall controllers of the overall corporation will be brought to justice. Will have to go to be held in court. Okay, be charged, right? Be brought charges on them. The entity is fined. And that fine, I'll tell you, that fine is never going to be anywhere that is going to impact the livelihood of, or the capabilities of that organization. That's very, very important. Now, I want you to think about it as you as a person or as a citizen, great ramification, pains and penalties can be assessed to you because you're a citizen. And the thing is that you want to operate outside of that. This is very important in what's going on. I'm gonna really show you in my overall estimate of what we see going on. I sent Lance a article this morning where the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania had said that people did not have the protection of freedom of speech by saying that the election was rigged. Okay, and he was saying that that was the same as going into a theater and yelling fire. Right now, that's the overall talking point for the Democratic Party right now, is that people saying that the election was rigged is equals to someone going into a theater and yelling fire, which is a crime. Okay, here's why they're so wrong, and here's the setup. Citizens, you have to be careful what you do because they've created laws to prosecute you. So you need to put yourself in a position of immunity from the law. And that comes by you have to be structured correctly so that you too can have immunity. So now going into a theater, yelling fire in a theater, and there's no fire is against the law. Okay. What they're trying to say in this instance, that saying that the election was rigged is the exact same thing, but it's not. Here's why it's not. Because the person that yells fire inside of a theater knows there is no fire. People were saying that they think that the election was rigged, but guess what? They didn't prove that it wasn't rigged. They just said that, hey, we've had ballot, we certified it, we did everything else, it's not rigged. They just told you it wasn't rigged. They didn't prove it to you that it wasn't, so that you can see that it wasn't rigged. And I'll tell you, in my opinion, all of the elections are rigged, from the ones of the past and the one of the future. If voting was mattered, it would be illegal. Doesn't matter. You can go and vote, But who's counting the vote? How do you know that they counted the vote? They've never established that because they don't want to, because that's a way of controlling you. So this is a talking point that's very dangerous, and is what it's really doing is that they're creating the problem and they're going to give the people the solution. That's manipulation. That's where you're going to have the handler pull on the leash that's attached to the leader, and that leader is going to lead the people right to the further destruction or the overall misappropriation of their energy. Subjugation. This is what happened. So when they're saying that people have said that the election was rigged, they don't have that, they can't use the freedom of speech. That's not protected under freedom of speech. Why? Because they told you it wasn't rigged? So they're basically telling you, you can only say what we say and what we're putting out. They didn't show that that election wasn't rigged. They had no intentions of doing that, because this overall direction gives them the capability to come with more draconian laws and exactions against citizens. So very important, that word citizen. I'm going to go to the Black Laws Dictionary. I want to use this a lot here. So let's go to citizens. I'm going to read this once again to you all. And for those of you who can follow along, go to Citizens in Black Laws Dictionary. Here it is. This is what a citizen is. And find it real quick. Okay, citizen. Where the heck is it? One sec. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. A citizen, someone who by either birth, the key word is someone. Why did they put in someone? That means it's a human being. Very important. You'll see why in a second. So I would say someone, human being, who by either birth or nationalization is a member of a political community, owing allegiance to the community. We talked about this before. So when you're a citizen, you owe allegiance. So this is why they can tell you that you will have to go by what we say, because you owe us allegiance, because you're a citizen of a political community, owing allegiance to the community and being entitled to enjoy all its civil rights and protections, a member of a civil state. We're going to go to civil rights. This is why it's so important. Go back to that one show that we did here about Byron Allen, why proclaiming civil rights is the worst. Civil rights is the worst thing that ever happened to our community and to citizens. We've been schooled and we've been actually we've been domesticated to think that it's the best thing, but it's not. Most people don't know that because they never read the Civil Rights Act and the extensions of it. We're going to take a look at that here. Okay, so but let me catch that up real quick. Let me show you why civil rights was the worst thing that has ever happened, especially to us. And it sets everything up for what's happening now, because when you proclaim your citizens, your civil rights, right? As a citizen, one, you owe allegiance to a political community, Black Laws Dictionary, and you are now able to enjoy the privileges of civil rights. Privileges means a privilege is something that can be taken away from you. Okay, like driving is a privilege, meaning they could take that away from you. Okay, so now look at what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up something why this civil rights is the worst thing. I'm going to go to my computer here to see it. This is United States Code, straight from the United States Code. 42, United States Code. Make sure you can see it. 81, equal rights under the law. Very important. Equal rights under the law. From Title 42, the Public Health and Welfare. Chapter 21, Civil Rights. Now, before I even get into this, let me show you something. Well, now, let me go straight here. Here it is. 1981, equal rights under the law. A, Statement of equal rights. All persons within the jurisdiction of the United States shall have the same rights in every state and territory to make and enforce contracts, to sue, this is what you can do, to be party, give evidence, and to the full and equal benefits of all laws, proceedings for the security of persons and property as enjoyed by white citizens. There's that word citizen again, okay? White citizens. So they're saying that equal rights under the law means that all persons can have and enjoy the same as white citizens, and shall be subject to like punishments, pains, penalties, taxes, license, and exactions of every kind. Now, let me tell you something. Look at what, as a citizen, you get. Punishments, pains, penalties, taxes, and licenses, meaning you always have to pay them. Now, let me ask you something. Does that not sound like you're being subjugated? Absolutely. Where are the beneficial things from there? So this is what it is about civil rights, is that they were subjugating white people, black people, the only people that live by that. The governments don't live by that stuff. What they do is they subjugate people. They want to encompass everything else. And so they divide people by race. Okay? Very important. So, and exactions of every kind. That's the key word. Exactions of every kind, and to no other. Okay? So now let me show you the history of this overall equal rights under the law. And we're going to take a look at that word law. Very important. Look how far back it goes. Codification goes back to same thing. Right here has the same readings. Here it is 16. Okay, same reading as the original one. I mean, that's the original one from 1870. Okay, from 1870, May 31st, 1870. Same reading as here. So they've been doing this for a very long time. Key word here is exactions. Let's go to Black Law's Dictionary and let's look up the word exactions and see what that means. Here it is, exactions. See, the devil is always in the details. Here's exactions, Black Law's Dictionary. An exaction, the act of demanding more money than is due. It's a form of extortion. A fee, reward, or other compensation, whether properly, arbitrarily, or wrongfully demanded. So see what they just put in here? That they can have wrongful demands of you of every kind and to no other. They can take more than was owed or was due of every kind. They can do a willful wrong of every kind to no other. This is why it's not wise for a citizen to claim civil rights. It's not. Never has been in it. It wasn't in the 1800s. It's not now. It's a setup. So here's what is so significant about that, is that when we look at this, it's all a setup. The key to is that we have to have ourselves properly, we have to structure ourselves properly. We need to have a handler's capability, because when you have a handler's capability, then you're able to create law, you're able to form your own constitution. The Constitution was established as a corporation. The Corporation of the United States has a constitution, and in that constitution, it has citizens that do all of its work to make it wealthy. And they don't get to enjoy the benefits, and they're not heirs to what they create. because they will just have what? Punishments, pains, penalties, taxes, license, and exactions of every kind. Very important. So the thing how you get out of that is, this is why civil rights is the worst thing. I never proclaim my civil rights. What I'm going to show you now is what you should be claiming. And you can go back to the Declaration of Independence. Let's see what the Declaration of Independence says. And the Declaration of Independence is one of the true documents, sincere documents, that is extremely important and always overlooked and critical that we take a look at it. So let's take a look at the Declaration of Independence. And I'm gonna read some parts that's very important, okay? And here we go. So I'm gonna read the part that, well, let me read this part, very important, and you'll see. When the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one, this is the Declaration of Independence. It's so important that we read stuff with reading comprehension and actually know what the words that are being used and what they mean. Because if you don't, ignorance of the law is no excuse. It is a liability. So if you are ignorant to the law, you can't use that as an excuse, but the liability of what you know is definitely going to harm you. So here we go, Declaration of Independence. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one person to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal stations to which the laws of nature and of nature's gods entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. And this is the part many of you have heard before. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Okay, so now they're saying this is why we're creating the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Let me stop there. All men are created equal. Remember the civil rights, the equal rights under the law? Here's the difference between the two. That all men are created equal. That they are, move this down. That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So that's what the Declaration of Independence proclaims that every person has. Notice the difference. They didn't say equal rights under the law. They established that all men are created equal by the great creator, and they have unalienable rights. So that's a huge difference. Let me tell you why. Let's look up the word in Black Law's dictionary, the word law. Very important. When you look up the word law, and all of this is going to come into place, and it's going to be put together so you can see why this is so significant, what you should be doing. So let's look up the word law. The word law. The regime that orders human activities and relationships through systematic applications of the force of political organizations, societies, or through social pressure backed by force in such a society. You see what they just did? See, the government wants you under law. When those individuals, and they created the Declaration of Independence because they wanted to sever their overall relationship with King George III, because he had become tyrannical in nature towards them. So what they said is that they went with unalienable rights that are given by the great creator. Okay? When you are a citizen, they want you to have equal rights under the law. And what does the word law mean? that it orders human activities and relations through systematic application of the force of political organizations, political organized societies, or through social pressure backed by force. See what's happening? If you are a citizen, you're a subjugated. So what you have to do is something else. And I'm going to get to what you should be doing. So now let's go back to the Declaration of Independence. One more time. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, meaning just because you're born, you have sovereignty. And your talents, your ability, and your energy is yours, not for someone else to subjugate you and take it away and use it for their gain. You can only have that if you are a citizen. And if you willfully participate in being a citizen, then you too shall be subjugated. So now, and I'm going to tell you, what the governments will do is that they will create laws for their citizens that they don't have to obey. They will create debt for their citizens that they don't have to pay. And they will declare wars that they won't have to fight, their citizens will. So it goes on. Here we go. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, not equal under the law, just equal. Okay, so law is not there. That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted. So they're saying that they created governments to maintain the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. That's why governments were created. Okay? Derive their just powers, saying that the government, well, let me go back. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, derive their just powers, meaning that they get their powers from the people, from the consent of the governed. So it has to be those that are being governed that give the consent that these individuals are actually given the powers to maintain only this: life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. Just those things. Because those things are what? The unalienable rights that were given to you by your great creator, by the great creator. Very powerful. So it goes on. That, okay. To secure these rights, governed are instituted among men, derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, or what are those ends are they talking about? The ends of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whenever the government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people. Here's what it says here. It is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute a new government. So whenever the government has overextended its overall powers that were given to it by consent of the governed, to maintain life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, if they do anything outside of that, then they can alter it to get them back online or abolish it. And then establish a new government that will do what? Fulfill the unalienable rights that the great creator gave every man to be equal, and to be equal under the great creator's unalienable rights to pursue the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what the government's job is supposed to be. But now it's extended itself to so much more. Goes on. So now they can create a new government, laying its foundation on such principles. This is the declaration. And organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Next article, next paragraph, very important. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient cause. What does that mean? That means that you shouldn't just be trying to change the government. It has to be prudent. Okay, it has to be imprudent. You have to make sure that they have overstepped their overall trying to give you life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness before you alter them, abolish them, and start a new government. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient cause. Okay, so now if you have a government that's been doing everything right and everything else, and they start messing up, prudence should be the factor where you alter them. You don't abolish them if they're doing things right. Goes on. Accordingly, with all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But here, next part, very important. But when a train of abuses and but when a long train of abuses and usurpation pursues the invariable the same objects, invents a design to reduce them under absolute desponse. Excuse me, let me move this up. I need my glasses, Keith. Under absolute despotism, it is the right and it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards. No, I'm good. Just readers. Okay, no, I'm good. I'm good. And to throw off such government and to provide new guard for their future security, such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now necessary with constraints to them to alter their forms, systems of government. And now that's now it goes into them talking about the king of Britain. So these were the colonists at that time that saying this, and they have a whole list of the reasons why they wanted to throw off and start their own government and take sovereignty. Very important. So this is a Declaration of Independence. So you can read it, check it out. And now go down. I want to get to this point. Very important part. It goes to, I think it's the last paragraph. Let me see if I want to. Okay, yeah, the last paragraph, very important. Here it is. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world. Let me stop there. What did they just say there? We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America. Here's the key. They were representatives. They were citizens of the United States of America. The United States of America is now a corporation. It's an entity. So an entity automatically is given unalienable rights, but representatives of that with citizens are not. So they're admitting right there, we therefore the representatives of the United States of America and General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the restitute of our intentions due in the name and by the authority of good people of these colonies, seldomly publish and declare that these colonies are, and for the right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown. That is powerful, because now what they did was they established something that's very important. They established that they were representatives and that there was something called the United States of America, which is actually different than citizens. The United States of America, and this is very important, what you need to do is you need to structure yourself correctly. The United States of America is structured correctly as an entity or as a person. So by being structured correctly as an entity or as a person, they get immunity. They create law. Okay, they're able to actually have immunity from other laws, and they're able to do things that the overall system, the courts, have to make sure that they don't abridge or breach their unalienable right. They're not citizens. Critical. So now, what is it that we need to do? We need to establish entities. Okay? If you are born in the United States, you're automatically declared a citizen. This is why you get a social security number. This is where, when you're a citizen, you will always have a leash or a collar, a lead on you that's attached to a leash with a handler behind that. You have to break that, because now you have to come out of being a citizen, and you have to protect yourself by having an entity. Keyword, entity. Now, if you look at Black Law's dictionary, what does the word entity mean? Very important. Let me read it. An entity, an organization such as a business or a government unit that has a legal identity apart from its members and owners. That's the key. Some of the key words there, one more time. An organization such as a business or government unit that has a legal identity apart from its members or owners. This is why you hear, I don't own anything. And because I don't own anything, everything that I have, I don't own anything, so I put everything that I control everything. I don't want to own anything. I don't put my name on anything. So that, God forbid, let's say someone tries to sue me. You could sue me, but you're not going to get anything, because David doesn't own anything. He controls everything. I control everything in an entity. The United States of America is an entity, and it controls everything from there, and it lets its citizen own everything. This is why the citizens own the debt. One more time, what is an entity? An organization such as a business or a government unit that has legal identity apart from its members or owners. See, as a citizen, you're the owner of the U.S., of the United States, but you don't control it. So what happens is that you have to be structured correctly so that you can now be an entity and actually have immunity from ownership. And if you have immunity from ownership, guess what? You can now take advantage of certain taxes. You can have immunity from taxes, penalties, license, and exactions of every kind. You can't do that as a citizen. Let me give you a case in point in that. If you are structured as an entity, you don't have to pay taxes if you're structured correctly. See, tax evasion is illegal, tax avoidance isn't. So if you're structured as an entity, there are different things that you can do to avoid paying taxes, avoid paying penalties. This is how corporations, when they cause great harm to people, they're really not penalized, right? They're immune to penalty. Case in point, let's say Germany. I talked about this when the World War II, World War II, when Germany lost and Japan lost the war, the entity of the government of Japan and the entity in the government of Germany was immune, but its citizens had to pay everything. Its citizens were the ones that were harmed because they're the owners. This is how they're able to operate. So right now, what we see going on and how it correlates to this is that right now, the overall entities are holding its citizenry accountable to their overall demands. And this is where we are. Now, it's wicked in how they work. But if you're structured correctly, right, you don't have to have that same mentality. But what happens is this: you have to create your own constitution. You have to create your own, you have to be your own founding fathers. You have to create your own entities. And what happens is that the Constitution of the United States will augment yours, but you do not have to act in accordance to that overall United States corporation or that Constitution. But this is the key. They won't destroy you and your entity because they can't, because if they destroy your entity, your organization, it destroys theirs. It augments you. But now you can do things. You can have a benevolent agenda instead of a malevolent one. And right now we're seeing that the governments are having, particularly the US government, is having a malevolent agenda against its citizenry. Why? Because they have equal rights under the law. The entity is not under the law. When you go to is above the law. It creates the law. An entity creates law. So when you go to the Declaration of Independence, how are they declaring their independence? That all men are created equal, with certain unalienable rights, that being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have to get back to that. And how you get back to that is that you have to come away from being a citizen and establish an entity. Now you can have and you can proclaim your unalienable rights. And guess what? They will oblige. They have to, because they're not going to allow that to go against. Because if they nullify yours, they nullify theirs. They can't do it. They won't do it. So very important, inalienable. Let's look up the word inalienable. What does that mean? Here's what inalienable means. You find it real quick. One second. Inalienable. It is right. One second. Here it is, right here. Okay, inalienable. Inalienable means not transferable or assignable. Not transferable. What are they saying? When you have inalienable and you have your inalienable rights, it's not transferable. So you can't, no one can take it from you. No one can take it from you. So this is why I never proclaim my civil rights, because my civil rights means I'm a subjugate. I'm subjugated. I'm subjugated to having the same rights as white citizens. If they getting pains, punishments, and penalties, then I don't want pains, punishments, and penalties. I want my inalienable rights, which gives me what? See the difference between civil rights and unalienable rights? Unalienable rights gives you life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Civil rights under the law, or equal rights under the law, gives you pains, punishments, penalties, license, taxation, and exactions of every kind. If you want that, then you stay a citizen. If you want to invoke your inalienable rights, then you can't be a citizen. You have to do that under an entity. You can't do it as a citizen. A citizen does not have inalienable rights. Your entity, you, and you have to be structured that way. When you're structured that way, then you'll be given the ability to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without interference. Yes, there may be things that you have to deal with, but they're not going to interfere with you. Let me give you an example. If you're structured correctly, you're immune from taxation. But if you're not structured correctly, then you can't get that benefit, because guess what? You're a citizen, you need taxation. If you have unalienable rights, you have the pursuit of happiness. What does the pursuit of happiness mean? That means your thought process, your energy, your talents, your abilities can be harnessed and used for your overall prosperity for generations to come, for you and for generations to come. That's the pursuit of happiness. Your life and your liberty means that no one is going to be subjugating your overall life. You are free and sovereign to establish. Very, very important. It's a huge difference. So now, why is that concerning? Because we've been taught only to be citizens. And until we break that overall process of breaking our citizens and breaking our civil rights and proclaiming our unalienable, unalienable rights to have life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness, meaning as long as I am doing things that are I'm trying to build my overall, give you an example. So I want to make a water treatment plant, right? Or a water treatment facility. So if I'm a citizen, there's one way I can do it, right? But if I'm structured correctly as an entity, then what happens is, guess what? I can take that overall water treatment plant somewhere in the world, and the governments will assist you in creating that. And then you can dictate how that is going to be used. So you can use it for benevolency instead of malevolency. And they will not interfere with you. They will actually assist you. In some cases, this is when you're structured correctly, they will take taxpayers' cash and give it to you. So what they're doing is they're taking your liabilities and making the citizens pay for it. It's because you have to be structured correctly. You have to be an entity. You can't be a citizen. It's critical, because when you have that, this is what happens. Now you have equality regardless of who you are. You're not subjugated, because what happens is that one of the things that's very important is that when you have an entity, you make yourself completely anonymous and no one knows who you are. So they don't know your business dealings. All they know is that you're structured correctly, and this is what this entity wants to do, and we will oblige it. And you remain anonymous. This is what the Constitution is. It's actually the United States of America is a corporation. It's an entity that has a constitution, and its owners, because it's an entity, is absent of the controllers of it is absent of the members of Congress, and its owners, the citizens. Ownership means you have liability. That's what they mean. This is why in school they teach you, they want you to only have ownership. Put your name on everything. Now you have liability. Let something go wrong, and guess what? Your fault. If you have an entity and if something goes wrong, me as a person, I'm immune from that. They can't do anything to me. This is critical, because what happens now is that you're going to see the U.S. economy totally, the common person's economy totally fail. The United States government is not broke. It is extremely wealthy because it has resources. It has assets. The corporation of the United States has assets. Its citizens don't. The citizens actually were subjugated and worked to create the wealth of the corporation. But the corporation does not have to share that with them because you're not an heir. But what you can do is you can create your own entity, your own constitution, you should create your own foundation so you could be a founding father, and the Constitution of the United States will augment yours. You can dictate that you will be paid in gold and silver coin only. So now you can have government projects and then be immune from taxation. Why? Because you're structured correctly. As a citizen, you are not structured correctly to do business. The wage of a slave is debt. Every citizen is a slave to the overall corporate agenda, and they get paid a currency, a debt note, a promissory note, a debt instrument. Let me give you the importance of that. There is a bill of credit, okay? And a bill of credit is the definition of a bill of credit from the Congressional Dictionary is this. A bill of credit is a paper medium used as a paper medium of exchange that's used between a government and an individual. A bill of credit need not be money, but money is a bill of credit. What did they just tell you? They're saying that a bill of credit is debt and is not money, but an asset such gold and silver, land is a form of money, and it can be a bill of credit. But a bill of credit need not be money. Here's why they said that. Because they were going to give you a bill of credit that wasn't money. But they also have a medium of exchange between governments and individuals. Notice they didn't say citizens, because now when the governments have a paper medium exchange with individuals, they can require that they get paid a bill of credit that is money. So important. So important. This is why in that dictionary, a definition of what a bill of credit is, it says government and individuals. That individual can be broken down by either an entity or a citizen. If it's a citizen, you getting a bill of credit, that a paper medium bill of credit that isn't money. If you are an individual that has legal standing and you have entity and you proclaim your unalienable rights and you structured it that way, then you can demand that your payment be in what? Money. That's not a bill of, that is not a promissory note. It's actual an asset that has intrinsic value. Very important. Critically important. We are disenfranchised because we've walked away from our unalienable rights, that we are, all man is created equal. We were duped into thinking as citizens the best thing for us to have was to have equal rights under the law. I read to you what the word law means. It's not even comparable where you should be. Now, what should you do with this information? You should structure yourself correctly. If you get proper, if you structure correctly, then what happens is that you are open to having generational wealth built for perpetuity that can't be taken from you in a court of law, that the law cannot take it from you. So this is how, and this is why the founders of the United States, those individuals that signed the constitutions, they are the founding fathers. They are the heirs to the overall constitution. They are the corporation of the United States. They created that they get paid in gold and silver coin only. They created the U.S. Mint so that all of the currency of the US can be actually detized so that they can gain from that and give that to the people and continue to get assets in exchange? Well, just because you structure yourself correctly doesn't mean that you have to go in a malevolent way. You don't have to do that. You can dictate that your overall structuring an entity, its overall business relations can be and have things that are benevolent. And then you remain anonymous. No one can know who you are, and you can move in silence, and everything that you need to do, you can have all kinds of trade. You can have all kinds of profitable trade, all types of profitable medium of exchange with not only entities within where you live, but you can do that globally because you're structured correctly. Does the overall entity or corporation of the United States do business with other countries? Yes. But do they do business with other citizens? No, they exploit citizens from other countries just like other governments do. The ones that choose to. Are there governments that choose not to do that? You find them. You be the judge of that. I have an opinion about it. But even then, if you do business with the US government, does that mean that you have to have the same overall business plan or the same ideology or the same direction as the US government? No, but they won't do business with you in a way that's beneficial to you unless you're structured correctly. Because now if you're not structured correctly, now you're going to be making them a citizen, so they will not do business with you that way. If you're structured correctly, they can do business with you. This is why we're financially disenfranchised. This is what we really need to change. We need to get back to our unalienable rights. You can't do both. You cannot do both. You can't be a citizen and proclaim your unalienable rights and prosper from that. You can't do it because every citizen is subject to what? Pains, punishments, taxation, license, and exactions of every kind. That is stealing from you. None of that is benefiting you. So you have to be an entity. So what I want to do with Lance is I want to give to Lance. So what I want to do is that we can show you how to, I would love to give a class that I give some of my clients, and I show them how to properly acquire the precious metals and basically how to gain interest off of it and everything else. And I want to give some of those segments of that class to you all. And Lance will decide who it is. And my only requirement is this. Lance, it has to be someone that is donated to your overall program and your network in the past, before this day, not today, going forward. And Lance will decide who those individuals are. And I will give them a class that will show them how to start to properly gain wealth with assets. And so, Lance, it just has to be someone that has donated to your platform in the past, regardless of what the amount is. There is no amount, but it can't be someone that's donated from today to tomorrow or whatever. No, I want to first take care of the people that have taken care of you. Take care of the people you have before you bring new people in. Okay, so I would love to do that. I'm gonna get that working with Lance, and I don't know if Lance is there right now, but Lance and I didn't have a chance to talk about that. And in that class, I'll go more directly in depth as how you should be using this to your advantage. And then also for those individuals that want to get properly structured, I will tell you how to do that and advise you that way. Okay. So I want to give a free class to individuals that donated to Lance's platform for Ford today. I appreciate you, and Lance appreciates you. We need you. We need your support. And one of the things that's important is that when you're establishing wealth and establishing generational wealth so that you can be immune to many things, it requires collective prudence. It really, really does. And it's a mindset that has to be changed. Let me give you an example of that, why that is so important. If you're structured correctly, I can donate to someone, and someone can donate to me. What happens to those donations? They are immune from taxation. Whoa. Whoa. Wait a minute. You mean if I'm structured correctly, I can have tax avoidance? Means that I could get out of one part of being a citizen? Because remember what the U.S. debt clock says. Who owns the debt of the United States? Debt per, you saw this last time we were here. Here it is right here. United States national debt, debt per citizen, debt per taxpayer. What does the equal rights under the law say? Remember, we looked at it. Equal rights under the law. Put this together. Put one and one together. You're gonna get two. Look at here. When you get equal rights under the law, statement of equal rights, this has to do with civil rights, right? Equal rights under the law. You get pains, punishments, penalties, taxes, license, and exactions of every kind. Here's the exaction. You go to work every day and you are indebted as a citizen, just as any citizen already, at $84,000. Every taxpayer, there it is, citizen. There that word is, citizen, right there. They want you to enjoy they want you to have the same privileges as white citizens, and white citizens get pains, punishments, and penalties and taxes and exactions of every kind. And or every taxpayer. This is what they get. If you're structured correctly, if it's structured correctly, you don't have taxpayer liability. So now you are more moved towards being able to have life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. I want you to think about that for a minute. Just from the point of taxation, if you were able to have no taxation in what you do, how much more would that benefit your life? How much more would that increase your liberty? Liberty means sovereignty. I don't want rights. Rights is something that's a privilege. It can be taken away, right? And then the pursuit of happiness. How much happier could you be? And just that one standpoint, imagine everything else that goes along with it. Now, what happens is now you can establish wealth, generational wealth for those that you have yet not named. Important. One of the most important things. This is what we should be doing. Establishing sovereignty. You still can do it. There's a way, a more direct way to do it. So in the age now where citizens are going to be hamstrung even more and under more what? More laws that's going to restrict their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. They're going to get more punishments, more pains, and more penalties. Do you think that they're just going to do this to Donald Trump? Or is it really engaged for all citizens? I will tell you this. Before you worry about the White House, you better worry about and take care of your house. I don't care what happens in the White House. Me personally, I do not care what happens in the White House. Take care of my house. And I want to make sure that I am perpetuating and momentumizing my life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, my unalienable rights that are given to me by the great creator. They recognize that. But do you? They taught us, they taught you and I not to. But they do, and they will always will. And this is how they're able to create so much prosperity that it goes beyond what they can do. So it's important that we have an education, because the education breaks our schooling. Our schooling, a school is always done this way. A school is always about obedience. For you to be obedient to the law, to the societal rules, to the civilization, to listen to your leaders and make sure that you do your good citizen's duty. The only thing that's guaranteed to you is death and taxation. That's what they say. What do they say? The only thing that's guaranteed is what? Death and taxation? There are things that we have to get back to. And those things that we have to get back to is our overall true spiritual, true sovereign connection. And it's not hard to do. I will tell you, you will never see me trying to overthrow by force the U.S. government. And anybody that does that, anyone that does that, that's foolish. That's foolish. Because they've created the means to deal with that in a forceful way. And it's illegal. But you know what is legal? If you create a new government, you can actually legally alter or abolish it and institute a new government, laying to its foundations on such a principle and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. You can do that. That's never been taken away from you. But if you're a citizen, can't do that. Can't do it. So, Lance, I don't know if Lance, if you're available, if we have some questions that I'll be more than happy in the chat to take a look at. We definitely could do that. And like I said, I definitely want to do that class for individuals that have donated to Lance's platform before today. And some of the stuff that we teach, it's so beneficial. It's been so beneficial to so many people. It will be equally beneficial to you. And it doesn't matter who you are, it matters what you do. Now, I will say this. If you have a malevolent, dark agenda, there are so many other things that you could do. Go do those. Go do those. This is not what we're engaging in, and that's not necessary. And I also will tell people, you don't ever have to become what you had to endure. See, one of the things that we get taught in school, and it's one of the propaganda methods that the governments actually employ, is that they want you to show that how do you get rid of a government? You get rid of a government by a forceful rebellion. And that's the stupidest thing to do. And the reason why it's the stupidest thing to do is because the abilities from the tools and the devices and the capabilities that the governments have that could nullify you way before. And guess what? Now you'll never be able to pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You just ended it. But what you can do, and the governments can't stop you from this, is removing your energy from their overall harvesting.
Yes.
If you remove your energy from their harvesting, now they got to do what? They got to work. They don't want to work. They employ you to do all of the work. You know why? Because your energy is valuable. It's an asset. This is why in corporations, they call it human resources, because you're a resource. So don't fall for that. Don't go there. There's a better way, and they'll pay for it. They will pay for it. So critical, Lance, that you're there. Lance, I don't know if you heard what I wanted to do. What I want you to do is that I want to give a class to some, the people that support this platform. So anyone, and you can dictate who those individuals are, because and we'll set up a time where those individuals, I will give a free class and I will show them how to start to utilize this and to start from zero to get to some places that they want to go. I will show them what I show our clients. I will teach them those things so that it can be directly beneficial to them. What I want you to do, Lance, is the individuals that could be is individuals that have actually supported your platform through donations in the past. Up until today, not as the start of this. Before we started this overall show, if they donated to you, then they would be eligible. That would be my only request.
Criteria. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
And not anyone from tomorrow or the next day, right? But it has to be someone from earlier today to the past, Lance. And I want to give them a free class, and I think it will be so beneficial to those individuals.
Thank you so much, brother. Let me just say, if you can hear me, let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let me just say that this is the best that the stream has looked on my end. For everybody else, it was working fine. But for me, who's running it, it knocked me off several times, which with this program, the stream will continue even if I'm knocked off. The reason why I'm not on it is because I'm a little under the weather. I got a little cough going on. I didn't want to mess up the stream. I'm trying to fight back from coughing right now. And I'm a little run down in a way, but not run down bad. But I got to just, I'm still going to churn out them shows. But this was definitely an attack. Look, the stream last night that we did where we had comedy and jokes went perfectly because we weren't saying anything threatening to their hold on us. But from my end, it was messing up so bad, I thought it was everybody. So I asked in the chat room, how's everything coming through? And they said it's perfect. As long as it's coming perfect for everybody else. But that was a specific attack, not just my internet is good. My internet is good. And this is something else. You see? So not to linger on that too much, but the message you're bringing is definitely a threat to someone, but it did go out without fault. But for a while, I thought that, wow, they're messing it up for everybody. Now, everything is good now. And I'm here like always, but there were times when I wanted to say something, but it wouldn't let me. Now, if I'm off and you call for me, when you wrap it down and I don't answer, that means some funny business is happening. And I'm really surprised that everything is working fine now. It's like they gave up, but you just never know. You know what I mean? But everything in the replay will be perfect because that's the way it is. I don't mind if it's not me there to hear it and see it. I'll watch it after, but to get the word out. Okay, so if in a few minutes or whenever you want to, you can talk for 5 more hours. That's cool with me. But when you're ready to wrap it down, if you say, hey, Lance, and you don't hear me, just wrap it down and sign out, just in case they start their buffoonery again on my end.
Well, I'll tell you, there's no need for them to mess with the platform because of this. What I shared with you is the truth, and it's not a threat to them. What is a threat to them is when people remain citizens, because when you have a draconian chokehold on people, you have to make sure that they're not going to try to rebel against you. But when you have unalienable, and you've moved to establishing your unalienable, inalienable rights, guess what? The U.S. government is not a threat to you anymore, nor do they see you as a threat,
right,
or any other government. Because now what happens is this: there's something that's called this: big business makes enemies friendly. And what do I mean by that?
So true.
I do not dictate how people adjudicate or decide their lives, because I believe that your freedom ends where mine begins, and mine ends where you begin. If the great creator can't go against your overall free will, what makes you think I can? It's never my intention. If someone wants to do ill, let them do ill, and then let the overall appropriateness dictate what happens, the retribution from that. So for me, and I'm gonna tell you why they're not gonna mess with it now, is because of this. The truth, the spoken truth of this is that when you do this, you're not a threat to them, and you're not a threat to them, and they're no longer a threat to you. Do you realize when you structure correctly, you create law, you tell politicians and the governments what to do? Do you realize that?
Wow.
When you're an entity and you're structured correctly, you tell them what to do. They ask your permission before they do certain things. Depends on how the structure and how long your structure has grown and how you've grown. The more it's grown, the more influence you have over resources. And when you control resources, you tell the economy what to do. And guess what? There's no need for violence of you there. Let me tell you where the violence starts. Starts at the citizen level, and it stops at the citizen level. Give you an example of that. How many people, citizens of Japan, were killed when the U.S. dropped when the U.S. military dropped the bombs on them? How many in World War I and World War II? How many citizens were killed? And I'm gonna ask you this: how many governments were killed? None. Because they're an entity. So there is no threat. If every single person refused to be a citizen and they wanted to be an entity and execute their unalienable rights, guess what? They wouldn't stop it. It would be business. You would be a part of the global economy. You wouldn't be a serf to it or subjugate to it. So, very important, and they know this. But the worst thing to try to do is, as a citizen, is try to forcefully, even as an entity, what you don't do is you don't become what you had to endure. My entity will never try to forcefully attack someone. I will always defend myself, because that's the overall part of having inalienable rights to pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. If someone threatens you, unjustly threatens you, you have the right to defend yourself, to neutralize that threat. You have that. But
exactly.
I want everyone to really realize, big business has a way of making enemies friendly. Let me tell you something. When you're in big business, the overall social citizenry divide is no longer present. No longer present. Because it's not necessary. That doesn't build generational wealth. It only takes it away. So it's not necessary. And Lance, I don't know if there were some questions in the chat room that anyone had that they wanted to address. I'll be more than happy to try to do my best on those. And just to give my opinion, if I know something, I'll tell you I know it. If it's something that is an opinion, I will just give you an opinion. That opinion is not right. And if I don't know and I don't have an opinion on it, I will definitely let you know.
Okay, there's a link I'm going to drop in the chat room that if you want to come onto the screen, your face will be shown, but you can ask directly, or you can still ask in the chat room. And I'm surprised how my voice sounds without coughing, right? Yeah, here's a link. If you want to ask Brother Dave any questions about the content and about what he's speaking on, just click that link and your face will be shown. So if you have anything that you need to cover, you know, if you have any background noise, whatever, please take care of that before you come on. And you can just always ask the question here in the chat room. So either way, you know,
I saw one question from the other day's show. Someone asked, what type of silver? I addressed that in our classes. So hopefully that person is someone that has donated to you in the past. And then we will definitely talk more directly in that class.
Yes,
but just
I'm going to look and see.
You need
what I'll do after the show is over. I'm going to look. Yes, I'm going to go down the list of the chat room and just see who's who, because what I want to do, I want to really acknowledge those who have in the past, you know, donated to the platform. It's not about how much. It's just, you know, we're in this thing together and it all has helped out. I want to get into doing that. But there's some people who may not want to be blown up a little bit. They say, no, don't put my name out there. So when anybody does donate, like from this point on, which we know that the class is going to be for the people who donated before, you know, just let me know if you want me to add your name as on a list of people who donated. And I'm not going to put the amount. It could be $1 million, it could be $1, but your name will be there. And if you want it to be a different name or you don't want to have it at all, no problem. You know, I just want to show that acknowledgement. But with so many messages coming my way and different things, sometimes it's like even it's overwhelming for myself and LG.
Yeah, you're only one person.
Say it again.
You're only one person. You get inundated with so many. Yeah, I know the feeling. But it's impossible. You do the best that you can. Now, I will say this: we will do something for individuals that donate from here on, but the people that will be eligible for that one class, that one free class is going to be for individuals that have donated in the past. I want to give you this class as me saying, I want to thank you for supporting Lance, and we'll have something else.
Thank you so much
for others. We'll come up with something as well. But I want to first take care of those that you have before you bring any new ones in.
Yes. And what I'm going to do is ask that those, because I know 90% of those who have donated in the past, I don't care if it's 5 years ago, I don't care if it was yesterday, but it's up until this point. But if you have, and there's so many names, and some other family here have changed their screen names, and it might go beyond me, you could send, I'm going to put the email link. It's going to be a special email link, right? And this is just for this. It's going to be lance@lancescurv.com. Any other inquiries, you can just send it to SCURV Media, but lance@lancescurv.com. And I'm going to put that in here right now. That's the email address that you use, and I will get that if you have in the past. So, you know, just let me know. And you know, any funny business, if I don't know, I'm going to check up, right? You know what I mean? But it's all good, and I really appreciate it. And Brother Dave, who does this, brother? That's why I am so appreciative of you, how you think beyond, because with the knowledge that you have, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't do something like this. And really and truly, I'm going to say it really helps. And just like Brother Quaker may have said, like in different shows, you know, Lance is not going to ask anything. I still need, I'm a regular dude. I'm not a millionaire. You know, I may make things look a certain way by the talents of the editing and this and pushing and little pieces of equipment. But a lot of times, you know, in the past, when I was in Orlando driving the bus or even working in the jail or prison or whatever, I was going paycheck to paycheck just to get a piece of equipment that was so minor. Maybe I wouldn't be able to use it for like 3 or 4 months until, You know, so right now, as things flow, I truly appreciate it. And as things flow, I am not going to stop. I don't care. It's not a let me gank them for money, but the sharing and the support is really marvelous. And like I said, I make do with that, and I will continue to do so. I don't talk bad about other channels or other people. You know, there are a lot of good individuals out there that I can say, but we know we have the people out there who are charlatans, and I hope that people don't think that I'm that. You know what I mean? Because I've worked very hard, and I'm glad that you, Brother Dave, would feel as though it's a plus to be here. It validates me. You validate me. From the day we were born, our lives were on a righteous collision course. You had your experiences and things you've been through and things you've learned to make you the man that you are today. And I held on. I've been through a lot. Yeah, I've been through a lot of things people don't know. And they'll be like, wow. But it doesn't matter because we stand here today, and we stand here despite the trials and tribulations that we've gone through. And because of that, I'm not going to quit now. Because of the people who have sown their seed, and I'm not trying to talk like a pastor, and I don't mean just money, but I mean just, hey, brother, what you're doing is good. Keep on going. Like my dear brother Sean, I'm going to call his name out. Everybody call his name out. Brother Sean. He transitioned, I believe, in June. Okay. And he was always in my corner. And the brother, you know, he had his own issues financially. He never gave me a dime, but he inspired me. And I can hear his voice now. So it's an energy thing.
Giving is not a monetary thing. Giving is because there's so many ways you give money, and money is not always cash. Your time,
right.
your talents, that's a form of money. It's a resource. So Lance, I'm on the chat room, and I can see the chat room now. And so let me just fix mine.
Continue on. I'm just going to lay down right next here, and I'm going to listen to the show. If you call for me, I'm going to, you know, come right on back, and, you know, I'm just right here next because, like I said, to be honest, I have a slight fever, okay? And I'm okay because we got some stuff later on, but I'm calling a little fever. I overextended myself. The AC, the sweating, and the AC and the sweating. When I ran yesterday, and I was up to the wee hours, you know, 7 o'clock this morning, even more doing the show. We had fun, but that's what it is. And I have a show I'm going to work on with Sister Segment 7 that I still have to put up later on. But I'm going to keep moving, but it ain't going to stop me. So continue on, my brother. I'm going to shut up for a while. King Anin, welcome back, brother. We're going to get that show up tonight. Yes.
And we'll talk. We'll talk about a little bit other stuff. So what I wanted, I can see the chat room, and so if there's a question, I'm going to try to go back and answer some questions that I've seen in the chat room real quick. And let me see. There was one person that's asked the question. One person asked, do you think they will not be corrupt anymore? Well, as I said before, I don't care what they do. I'm only accountable for what I do. And so what I do is that I always protect myself. Do you have to protect yourself from corruption? Absolutely. Do you have to protect yourself from ill-willed individuals? Absolutely. I will tell you, if you really want to protect yourself from corruption, being a citizen is the worst thing to do. I don't care how many guns you have. I don't care how much this or that you have. The system is actually created a way and mitigated that into the risk. Because one thing that I'll tell you what they'll do. I'll tell you what they'll do. One thing that they'll do is they have force multipliers. They'll turn your neighbor against you. This is why they have the division. They'll turn your community against you. I'm gonna tell you something about this system and these organizations. They've been around, they think for 100 and 200 years in advance. They keep the citizens only 2 days and 3 days and 2 weeks of thought. They think for decades, centuries, and millennia. So they kill you with experience. So they will always, if they choose to be corrupt, that's on them. That's not you. It's not you. So yes, they will continue to be corrupt, those that choose to. But there was one question. All right, let me go to the bottom. If you have a question, I can see it now. It's a whole lot easier. If you have a question, I can see it now. Let me just go to the bottom. And so, see, there's none so far. Right, Dia. That's it. Everything. See something, tell something, and everything that you see right now is man, is they've been doing this for a long time. And I'm gonna tell you something about, some people talk about the New World Order. There is no such thing as the New World Order. It's the same world order. It's just new to you and I. Nothing new about these people. Nothing new about them at all. So yes, Lance will set up, for those of you that have donated to Lance platform in the past, thank you so much. And we're going to do a class. Someone asked, how do we become an entity? Generally speaking, this is over my, okay. No, it's not really. Entity means you have to establish. When they established the United States of America, they established a corporation, okay? And there's different forms of entities. A corporation is one, a LLC is another one, a foundation, a 501c foundation, so there's different ones. So what you need to look at is what one best serves you. A trust. Having a trust is an entity, very important. A foundation and a trust is very important. So when you want to know why they call the original signers of the Constitution the Founding Fathers, because they established the trust and the foundation. And they did it under their corporation of the United States. So we'll definitely help you with that. And it's very important. So, yes, a lot of different things. Let me see. Yes, we want Lance to get well. We'll talk to Lance on some things. You know, he's back home.
Thank you so much, brother.
On the continent to and he can get some real, you know,
yes,
heirloomed food that has real nourishment for his body, and we'll definitely make sure Lance knows that. He'll do it. He knows that. Let me see what else.
Thank you.
Was there any other question? For those who have an LLC. I will say this. There are different things. I will tell you, I stay in my lane, and my lane is the precious metals. Okay. And I have a team of people and associates that can help with entity establishment. And I'm going to make that available to some of you, those that want to engage in that. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, so it says New World is farmers. Yes. Let me see. Is there any other? Are there any other questions? Let me see. Okay. Oh, I know. I want to. Someone said about Bitcoin. I want to address that as well. Okay. So. Okay, so what we want to do, some of the questions I will not answer here because they're personal. And what we'll do is that Lance will set up for those individuals that will take the class. We'll give the class, and then what we'll do is that I will give you my information. You can text me or email me, and our info, I'll type it in here. Oh, not signed in. Okay, so you could email me directly at info@prosperitymint.com. PROSPERITY Mint, MINT.com. ProsperityMint.com. Okay, that's direct to us, and I get that email, and then we can maybe set up a way that we can talk. So, and then Lance and I are going to set up for the class for the individuals, and then some other things for more direct. Because when it comes to some stuff, I don't want to talk about some things because it's a private matter. I will never talk about precious metals, have a personal conversation on an open platform about precious metals because of the security risk. Okay, I'm talking about real money. So. Okay, I've been waiting to get into this precious metal. Yes, more than happy. Yes, Empress, thank you so much. Info@prosperitymint.com. I'm not logged into it. Thank you so much, sis. So someone said about Bitcoin. Is that a good investment? It depends. Is it a good investment now? My opinion. One of the investment rules that I live by is that I only enter the market correctly. Okay? What I mean by that is that profitability is derived where you enter the market, not where you exit. So I never enter the market. I never buy high. I never buy high. I always find in the entry point that's going to give me the most profitability. I do not think that going into Bitcoin right now is going to give you the best profitability because it's so high. But should you invest in Bitcoin? Yes, but definitely. Right now, for me personally, I wouldn't do it. I entered into Bitcoin when it was much, much lower, $8, $27, $248. To me, that was the time to enter. Okay, so one person asked about that. So I think that that's important. That key is important. That's a rule that you never buy high. People that really do well in investing, they never buy high. They only buy low, and then they get out high. Okay, they get out high. And I'll give you a little clue. If you're starting to hear that institutions are getting into Bitcoin, no, they're not. No, they're not. They've already been in it. They want other people in it so that they can get out. Investors generally don't tell you because that's proprietary and that's important to their overall profitability. They don't tell you when they're getting in. Okay, they already get in. They want to get in at the low and then talk about it so that it can go and they can get out at the design time. Someone said Bitcoin will be at 100K at the end of the year. It could, definitely. But let me just tell you something about the risk of Bitcoin. That's very true. It could. Let me tell you the risk. You got to have mitigating risk factors in things. If you're going to get in Bitcoin and you're comfortable with it, great. I wish you the best. I've done well with it, but I wouldn't be buying it right now for anything because there are better entry points for profitability other than Bitcoin right now. Okay. Now, here's the thing about Bitcoin. It's not real. It's even worse than cash. It's not real. It has no intrinsic value. Show me a Bitcoin. Show me the intrinsic value of Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't valuable until you sell it and you get cash, then you can get an asset with it. And if you know that, you'll be fine. But here's the thing about it. If it's not real, that means it can go to zero at any point in time because it's a facade. It's going to be great for some people. It's going to be good for some people. But if it goes to zero, how many people are going to harm? And it could go to zero instantly. So you got to know the risk factors with it all, and you'll be fine. Fox, I'm not trying to argue with you. You know, I'm glad that you entered Bitcoin at the point that you, and I wish you well on it. But there's mitigating risk to it all. You know, the thing about Bitcoin, they say it's a decentralized, it's a decentralized platform. How can you be decentralized and use the centralized internet? You can't. It's not decentralized. So, but I want the people that are in Bitcoin, I want you to do well. And I'm glad that a lot of people have entered into it. But I will tell you this, Bitcoin is not something that you should save in because it has no intrinsic value. You should use it as an investment vehicle to actually get things that you can save in. You only save in things that have intrinsic value, okay? Because those things can never go to zero. Those things can never go to zero. All right. So, Lance.
Yes, my brother.
Wait. Fox is not decentralized. Fox is not decentralized. Okay, let me tell you why it's not decentralized. Let me cut off your internet and see how your Bitcoin works. Cut off the internet. This is how I have clients in Venezuela. They had Bitcoin. It was great, but the internet didn't work there. And guess what? You can't get it. It's not decentralized. So, yeah, and I know you, so that part is why I say it's not decentralized. So understand why I'm saying it's not decentralized. Because decentralized means this. I'll tell you something that's decentralized. If you have meat in your freezer right now, if you're a meat eater and you were hungry and you wanted to cook a burger, that's decentralized. You can cook it, right? If you have silver and gold, regardless of what the global economy does, everything could be shut down. Silver and gold has intrinsic value that can sustain your life because if you have it in your physical possession, regardless if the lights are on or if the lights are off. That's what I mean by decentralized.
Truth.
Yes. So, let me see what else. Well, Lance, let me see. No other questions. We'll set up
definitely
how we can do this, and we'll try to help as many people as we possibly can. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, brother. We can actually set it up on my conference line. The conference line, that particular class, and I'll give you access to it. We're going to have a PIN code. So when you call the number, you're going to have that PIN code, okay, to get in. So that means it's going to be secure. Because most of the time with the conference line, I said just go on in, no problem. It's open if we're just talking about different issues. I have no problem, with our family using it that way. But when it's something like this, that must be not necessarily kept up on the wraps, but the bottom line is that you're going to share this and give this with those who have donated prior. It doesn't mean now, let's just stress this again, that if you donate now, no, if you donated prior, that's just the way it is, because those members of our family have done so without a purpose or like, okay, I'll give you something because I want to get to class. Like I said, if one supports, I don't care if you supported by giving 10 cents 10 years ago, you're in. So it's not an amount thing. But you must know that at this point, after hearing Brother really and truly, as deep as you went, you actually skimmed the surface of what you know. So with the class, could you imagine how deep you can go when you speak freely? Okay, so let me shut up, let you take it where you need to take it. And again, thank you so much, brother.
No, I thank you, Lance. I thank everyone that's here. I wish you all the best. And
thank you.
there's an old Chinese proverb. And right now, you know, living in very interesting times, the U.S. is. And they say
Yes,
that
indeed.
as a curse to, you know, and they're meaning that they want you to have some very challenging, interesting times. And I think that that's going to happen here in the States. But you do not have to be on the adverse side of that, because with every disaster, there's a great opportunity to rebuild.
Yes.
And this is why I firmly believe that they're going to destroy the everyday person's economy here, particularly, because they can gain so much wealth by rebuilding. You can become extremely wealthy from a foundation that's already been established and working well, but you get even more when you destroy it and then rebuild it. And this is why I firmly believe that they're going to definitely destroy the common person's economy, not the whole economy. They're going to just destroy the overall common person's economy. So, Lance, thank you so much, everyone. Wish you the best. And Lance, give me a call. I got some stuff for your fever and everything else. And,
thank you.
We'll get together, okay?
Yes, indeed, brother. Thank you so much.
Much love and much respect.
Thank you, brother. I'm going to play a little music, and I'm going to also call you in a few minutes, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Peace. Yes.
Hey!